Good morning, everyone. I've been asked to go over some of the Block 4 questions. I know this is a little late, as your assignment was last week, but we're going to get to a little bit of Block 4 right now. So I'm going to go over a couple of these questions, but then I'm going to have you guys do some on your own. So it looks like the first equation we have is 2x minus 8 equals 5x plus 12. So when we're solving these equations, we need to make sure we get all of our x's on one side and all of our constant terms, or our numbers without variables, on the other side. So I see that on the left side, 5x is bigger than my 2x. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to move the 2x over to the 5x. How we do that is we have to get rid of the 2x on the right side. So what I'm going to do is subtract 2x, so I know I can move that and get rid of it. I subtract 2x from 5x. 2x minus 2x, I get 0, so it cancels out. 5x minus 2x gives me 3x. So we have 3x plus 12 now equals a negative 8. So at this point, now we have to move over the 12. So if it's a plus 12, I'm trying to get rid of it, so I'm going to subtract 12. And subtract 12. So 12 minus 12 gives me 0. I get 3x and then negative 20. So now we have 3 and x. What's between that is a times sign. So it'll be 3 times x. Now to do the opposite of times, we'd have to divide. So I'm going to divide 3 and 20. So in this case, now we have x equals, now it'd be whatever, how many times 3 goes into 20. So it's going to be negative 6. And this is going to be a mixed number because 6 goes in there 3 times. And then we have 2 left over 3. The next one's real similar. It's 2x minus 8 equals 5x minus 12 this time, though. So we'll do that problem. 2x minus 8 equals 5x minus 12. Same thing here. I'm going to subtract my 2x. Subtract my 2x. So now I get still 3x. Now this time minus 12 equals a negative 8. We have to remember to keep that negative sign because that it's in front of the 8. Then I'm going to add 12 this time instead of minus 12. So those still cancel out. Negative 8 plus 12 equals 4, a positive 4, and then 3x. So the 3 and the x are being multiplied together. So we have to undo that. So the opposite of multiplication then is to divide. So I'm going to divide 3. In this case, we're going to get x equals either 4/3 or 1 1/3. 3 can only go into 4 once. So we have 1, and then we have 1 left over, so 1/3. Okay, moving on. I want you guys to try number 15. We will do number 16 right now together. So what we have is 30 plus 1/4 x equals 1/2 x. Now again, I want to get all my x's to one side, and I want to keep everything else on the other side. Now this one's kind kind of tricky because it has fractions in it, but if you remember the rules of our fractions, it's not too bad. So we need to divide the 1/4. So we need to get rid of that 1/4 over here, so we can move it over here. But when we divide fractions, what we're going to do instead is we're going to multiply the reciprocal. So if we multiply, we're going to multiply the reciprocal of 1/4, which is going to be 4/1 instead. So that's what we would do on this side as well. So we would have times 4/1. So now what we have is 30 plus 1x equals 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2. So 4/2x, which is actually going to come out to 2x. In this case, now we still have that 1x. So what we're going to do is subtract that 1x. Subtract 1x. So now we have 2 minus 1, which is still 1. But we still have this 30 on the other side. So our answer then is going to be 30 equals 1x, or x equals 30. Okay, we'll do 17 together here. So this one we have a distributive property. So what I'm going to do is distribute, so I'm going to multiply by each of them. So what I'm going to have is 2/3 times x, so it's 2/3 x. Now if I do 2/3 times 4, that's actually going to be 2 times 4, which is 8, over 3 over times 1. 3 times 1 equals 3. So we have 8 divided by 3, or 8/3, which is going to give us a positive 2, because 3 goes into 8 twice. Actually, I'm just going to leave it here as 8/3. I think that might be easier later on. And then we got to do the same thing to the other side. 1/2 times 3, well, 1/2 of 3 is 1.5. So I'm going to do 3/2 x minus the same thing, 3/2. So now we have these numbers here. So what we're going to do is move over our numbers. So what I'm going to do is move over my 2/3. So we're going to subtract. So I think I made a mistake in the one above. I'll go back and fix that. We're going to subtract the 2/3 from the 3/2. So what we need to do is get the same denominator because we're subtracting. So what we have then is 3/2 times 2/3. Now I know a denominator, a common denominator is something that 2 and 3 can go into. So I know that 6 can be a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply these to get to 6. So 3 times 2 will give me 6. Or sorry, since I multiplied the 2 by 3 to get to 6, I'm going to multiply the top by 3 as well. So I'm going to have 9/6 minus, now I multiplied the 3 by 2 to get to 6. So I'm going to multiply this 2 by 2 to get to 4. So 9 minus 4 becomes 5. 5/6. then this would become 5 over 6x. So now we subtracted these, so what I'm going to do is have to add 3 over 2 to the other side. So in this case, then again, I'd probably have the same common denominator of 6. So it would be 8 over 3 minus 3 over 2. But I want to change them both to 6. So I multiply 3 by 2 to get to 6. So I'd have to multiply 8 by 2. So I get 16 minus. And then I multiply 2 by 3 to get to 6. So 3 by 3 gives me 9. So 16 minus 9 gives me 7. And then 7 over 6. Now to find x, what we need to do is divide our number, our 5 over 6. And remember, when we divide, you have to actually multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 5 over 6 is 6 over 5. So I'm going to multiply 6 over 5 here. So in this case, we get x equals 7 times 6 is 42. 6 times 5 is 30. I can simplify it because they're both even numbers, I know. So that's 21 over 15. Again, I see a number that can go in both 21 and 15, and that's 3. So it's going to equal 7 over 5. I know that was a lot and a lot of fractions, but that's how you do that problem. I'm going to go back real quick to change my answer up here. We would need to subtract and get rid of this. We would need to subtract the 1/4 1/2 instead of multiplying it out first that we did. That's a mistake. I'm changing it right now. So if we subtract 1 over 4 and subtract 1 over 4, basically this is now just saying that it's 1/2 minus 1/4, which is going to give me, I know, 1/4 x, which is going to equal 3. Then I'm going to divide that. But when I divide that, I know I have to multiply by the reciprocal. So it's 4 over 1 times 4 over 1. So I'm going to get x equals 30 times 4, which is 120 over 1, which is the same thing as x equals 120.